What's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. This is Put It on the Table. Today we are bringing together this panel of fellas here, and we're discussing things that concern communication between men and women. And sometimes there's difficulty in discussing those things, and sometimes we got different perspectives because men and women, we think different, we talk different, we understand different, we process different. So we always gonna have different views, and the idea is to be able to bring those views together to come to one common goal, which is peace in the household. And you gotta have peace, because if you ain't got peace, you ain't got nothing. So to my left, I got T. Jones. To my right, I got Jason. To his direct right, holding down the end, I got Low. So y'all tell me, T. Jones, let me know what you think about how we can improve communication, and how, what's been your experience with this communication thing?
Well, lately I've been working on self, and in doing so, I'm working on self. I do more listening. I listen with the intent to listen, instead of listening with the intent to answer. And I think that's where we come across with these communication problems. A lot of times, before a person get the third word out their mouth, we so ready to answer. You feel some type of way. And when I decided to take a step back and like, whoa, let's have a conversation. Bring it to the table. When you put it on the table, and I asked for permission, hey, can I have 24 hours to marinate on that? And once I began to do that, then was I getting clarity in a relationship. And that's even with my kids. I practice that on a daily basis. Listening with the intent to listen, and not so much jump in to answer so fast.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it happens over the course of maturity, right? Mm-hmm. For me, sometimes I have to listen with the intent to respond, because I'm getting older and I might forget my point. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be, you have to use techniques, right? I need to make sure I'm understanding and I'm comprehending. But you're right, we got to learn to get to the point where we're listening for understanding and not for just an immediate response, right? Yeah. And then let's be honest, a lot of times that's driven by who you're talking to. Because I'll be honest, y'all, I'm just put this on the table. I don't like talking to people who are not on my level, right? And now some people may take that the wrong way. Well, what do you mean? Let me unpack that a little bit before somebody get offended by that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? What I mean is, if, I'm all about progression, right? I'm all about moving forward. I'm all about positivity, right? I can't allow people who are always negative and always, talking about the past, right? If we can't talk about where we are or where we're trying to go, you know what I'm saying? Some people you just got to leave behind you, because if that's all we have is what was, then it's hard for me to even communicate with you, because I need to be focusing on my destiny, not the things that deter me.
Yeah. That's like me. I wake up every morning and I begin my day with the end in mind. What is it I want to accomplish that day?
Okay.
So when I lay my head on the pillow at night, if I go to sleep right away, I had a great day.
Okay.
But that comes along with all the adversity in life through that day, and how I respond to it. And that's why I listen with the intent to listen so much more than, hey, I'm gonna give you an answer. Because if I give you an off the top answer, I'm an asshole. Okay. And it's not gonna come across. I'm putting it on the table.
Y'all put it on the table.
I'm gonna come across as brash, cocky, and all that. That MF-er. He ain't trying. I'm trying to work on me. So in order to work on me, I'm gonna be a better listener. Because being a better listener turns around and makes me a better provider.
Okay.
And that's where I'm at today. I'm not saying that it's always been like that, because it hasn't. Okay. I got some bridges that's been burnt, but I'm rebuilding them. Okay. And that comes with what you just said, maturity. And for me, I'm like you. I keep my circle small now.
Yeah.
And if you ain't on that level, hey. See you, and I'm a whole different ball guy.
But how do we do? And you could probably expand on it, Jay. So how do we do this when we're communicating with significant others in our life in regards to communication? Because that right there can determine whether your house is going to be a house of just continuous turmoil, or if you're going to have a peaceful household.
True.
And for real.
I mean, for me, if I can't repeat back to you what you said verbatim, then I'm really not listening. You know,
Okay.
I think those lines of communication got to be open to where you feel my heart when I'm communicating, and I need to be able to feel your heart when you're communicating, and that's the only way we're gonna come to an understanding.
Okay.
You know, you got to be honest with yourself. Got to be able to be open to receive criticism.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, that's for sure.
You know, and then it's got to be constructive criticism. You know, not somebody just beating you up and whatnot.
For the sake of beating you up. Yeah.
You get a lot of that beat down stuff,
Oh,
huh?
man.
But y'all, all this sounds good, but do y'all really be wanting to hear what your significant other have to say all the time?
Not all the
Not
time.
all the time.
Not all the time.
But at certain points,
They don't want to hear what you have to say. all
Right,
the time.
exactly. I was gonna say they don't want to hear what you got to say because I mean I'm putting it on the table. I just had a conflict, Super Bowl day.
Okay.
You know,
Don't we know?
yeah, Super Bowl day. I had a conflict, and it was a breakdown of communication. Well, I don't say communication because I let it be known very clearly how I felt. It's just the understanding of the communication. So there's a processing that we do as men, thinking logically, thinking at situationally, looking at what we know from past experiences that women tend not to see. They're blinded by it. I mean, it's just, you know, some of it is women and some of it's just stubborn. And sometimes they don't want to see. I'm just keep it above.
See why I'm laughing because you're gonna be trying to come on my house later and you're not coming over.
Yeah, I can see that shovel coming right back out.
No, but it was a I let something be known. There's something specifically that I don't like. Okay, and I've repeatedly let it be known that I
So
don't
because
like
you didn't like it and maybe she did, you know, did you come to an understanding?
Not exactly. That's why Super Bowl Sunday I was kind of ticked and I almost missed it because the communication was at the end of the day it ended up working itself out to the point of her coming around to, you know, making more of an attempt to hear how I was saying it to her, or what I was saying to her, or understanding what I was saying. But in the beginning, it was more of a, I don't get it. And what's the big deal? What is it? And it was just that thing.
You just did something, and this is part of the conflict. So the neck rolling was
Yeah. Oh, the neck
and
roll,
the
neck
finger
popping, and then and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that is immediate. Because after that, I'm like, okay, all right. We don't even need to talk about this no more because now I'm going completely somewhere else. Because to me, you showing me like you ain't even respecting what I'm saying at that point when you get into that mood. I'm just saying.
Back to the person believing that you got their best interests in mind.
And that's what has to be conveyed as well, is that I'm saying what I'm saying because it's my job to have my eyes open when your eyes ain't.
Okay.
And I gotta see. I'm seeing something that you ain't seeing.
Yeah.
And so if I'm telling you, and you trust me, take my word.
Yeah.
It's a whole process thing though. It's you know they got to process it just as well as we have to process it.
Okay.
So it's all about give and take. We was just before you got in here, Lo, we was talking, and people always say you bring 50% to a relationship and I bring 50% to a relationship. That's not a 50-50 relationship. That's only 50% of a relationship.
Okay. Okay. Don't get to that syrup, man.
If you with someone, no, not syrup, man. If you with someone and y'all both bring 100. Then you have 100.
Yeah.
But if one of y'all bring 99, the other one bring 100, then something ain't right. You got to fix that, and you got to be willing to say, hey, let's sit down and talk about this. Let's have, you know, hey, you talk about people. Now the new thing is date night during the week.
Okay.
We out on the date night. Leave them folk alone. Turn your phone off and be with whomever you're gonna be with, and y'all have a discussion of where y'all going. What is the road we gonna travel? What do we see? What do we want from each other?
Yeah.
What do we want for ourselves, for our family, and even our friends?
Yeah.
And we have to have that communication. You don't have that communication, you're gonna have that strife.
Exactly.
You're gonna and it's okay to have an argument. You know, it's okay.
Yeah,
It's
the
a
argument's gonna
healthy
happen.
argument.
Right.
You know.
So here's the thing. What's crazy, y'all? So my wife and I, we've been together 30 years.
Lucky
We've had
son, John.
one argument. one argument, because I don't believe in arguing, right?
Yeah, because he think he always right, so he ain't gonna argue.
Y'all see that smile, folks? Put it on the table.
Let's table that. No, it's not that. We just agreed that that's not healthy for us, right?
Right.
Because sometimes you'll go too far.
Yeah.
And early in our relationship, man, we did have an argument where we kind of went too far. She came home 3 o'clock in the morning. She said she fell asleep over a friend's house. I wasn't trying to hear it, right? This was within our first year of dating. And I said, you know what? If we're gonna make this work, we can't ever do this again, right? And so that was our decision. We will let each other know we're frustrated in other ways, right? But we have made a commitment to each other to never go to bed angry, right? You can't do that, because our fear is one of us won't wake up, right? And then the other one has to carry that burden,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
of, wow,
I'm working
I didn't
on
get
that.
a chance to resolve that. You know what I'm saying?
I'm working on that whole resolve the same day before I go to sleep thing. I ain't got there. Pray for me. I ain't there.
Okay.
I ain't there, because I know me. Because I've done good progress over the years, though, because my temper would go from 0 to 10 in a hot second.
Yeah, we know, Eric.
So for me, you know, if I'm at 10, I can't open my mouth because I know what's coming out. Ain't gonna be good.
It's not gonna be good.
So I have to calm myself down, and sometimes it may take till the next day for me to get my, you know, my level of coolness back, so I can actually discuss it,
Right.
and be really, you know, just frank, honest, and I want to say non-emotional, but not as emotional as I would have been, as I would have been caught up in the moment and said something.
And that's maturity, right? Because we can never respond in the midst of volatility, right?
Oh.
If it's volatile, the best thing to do is listen, you go to your corner, I'm going to mine. We actually, in our marriage ministry, we created safe words, right? So when you know you're getting ready to go too far, you have to say that safe word. And that safe word means we stop right now. Nothing else is to be said, and we'll reconvene when cooler heads, have prevailed. Because too many people aren't together right now because they wouldn't allow calmer heads to prevail. Right? And you said something that you couldn't take back. Get some things a woman can say to a man, brother. If she say that, those things, he ain't coming back.
He ain't coming back
He's
from
never
that.
coming. And if he comes back, he gonna be so wounded. He's just staying long enough until his situation turn around and he can move forward. Right? Because she's emasculated him so much to the point where it's just like that dog you done kicked too many times. That dog ain't got the same fight in him no more. You know what I'm saying? Because you've kicked him too much. And we got to be careful. And, you know, I mean, even in our conversations, right, we got to be careful what we put out there in the atmosphere.
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
for
sir.
sure.
Yes, sir.
For sure. Because, we can
totally
bruise
agree
them
with
as
that.
well with words that we say. And that's why I said, like, I have to know that I have to bring myself to a certain point before I can open my mouth and say something. And I'm hoping to get to the same day. I ain't made it. I'm like 24 hours. Maybe
I can't even say 24 hours.
Okay.
I can, I withdraw and retreat into what some people like to call a cave. I gotta process some stuff.
Yeah.
And I got to see, how is this really affecting me? What's gonna be the outcome if I come out and I'm as vulnerable as you would like me to be?
And sometimes it's a thought process for me. It's like I really take a deep examination of myself in the midst of a conflict and say, am I tripping?
Yeah.
Am I off kilter with what I'm thinking right now? I have to take a step back because, again, in that emotional situation, that emotional state, you going off. You're not logically thinking.
Exactly.
So now, as I'm beginning to, grind the gears to a halt, bring the emotion level down, bring the steam down. Now I'm saying to myself, okay, was I tripping about this for real?
Yeah.
Am I thinking that this completely off? Am I wrong? Am I just completely out of pocket?
It can't be a reaction. It's got to be, it's got to be thought through.
It does.
And go from there. With that right there, the fear of being exposed, that childlike in me that brings whatever issues to the table with, my spouse or whoever else. Am I seeing what I'm seeing properly? Am I feeling what I'm feeling? Am I too far into my feeling?
Right.
Yeah.
I
it
think
can be difficult, you know. And the older I get, I guess the easier it is. But you know,
Well, let's be honest. So certain things can trigger certain
that's what I was about to
things.
say.
It can be a trigger.
It could be a vulnerable spot. Yeah.
I just had a incident over the holidays that happened, and it just, you know, first of all, I'm gonna put it on the table. I see a therapist every 2 weeks, and I did that for my health, not nobody else. But the therapist led me to me, and I thought it was amazing that she was able to figure that out so fast, and I've been the happiest I've been in the last 5 years because I do this.
That's what's up.
And that mental clarity and that whole thing that black men don't go to doctors and this, that, and the other. For me, I got rid of that stigmatism, and I encourage everybody to do so. But it taught me how to communicate because I didn't know how. I did not know how to communicate.
Okay.
And I would always go 0 to 10 with anybody.
Right.
You know, Lo seen me in action a couple times. I'm like, yo, T, you know, you need to come to church. but I began to understand, like, hey, it's something about me I need to go take a look at.
Yeah.
So when you're doing these things and you learn these techniques and you become a listener, I didn't want to listen to anybody because I was in a lot of pain. And you know, everybody thinks, well, this dude's 6'1" and he did this, he did that, and he got everything together, and look what he's driving and this, that, and the other. But nobody knew what I was going through inside. And you know, just the other day I got hot about something. You know, you can't come at me any old kind of way if you ain't really one of my friends.
Yeah, exactly.
And a dude said something to me, and I was like, boy. And luckily, my friends told me, yeah, you need to go ahead and go home, because if I hadn't have left, if I hadn't have left, you know, where would I be right now?
Right.
You know.
Exactly.
So we have to have safe words. We have to be able to look at self, and that's the key right there. Be able to look at self and be able to go to your partner and say, "Hey, I took a look at and heard what you said, and this is my response.
Exactly.
And this is how I feel.
Exactly.
But you know, what can we do together to iron this out to move forward?
Right.
And your hand earlier today, man, I'm gonna sit on the other side next week because you still mad. And you still got some issues from Super Bowl, and we 7 days removed, bro. And I want to tell you, you can call me anytime you want. I know Lo got you over there, but I got you too. It's okay.
Give him the therapist number.
Yeah, you love that little Jewish woman. Oh, excuse me. I apologize.
So here's the thing, y'all, and now let me hit rewind real quick, because some people may say, well, you know, Lo is saying that him and his wife haven't, you know, had an argument in all these years, whatever. Does that lead to unresolved issues? It can, right? Because if you're not careful and you just continue to say, I'm not going to deal with this or I'm not going to address it, it's just like with dirt you sweep under the rug. Eventually that hump going to get so big you're going to trip over it. And this is why the key is just understanding when to respond and how to respond.
Yes.
Right.
We don't let things go
But that's
unresolved.
a covenant you took early on in the relationship,
Yeah.
and that in itself
I think that needs
was
to be
100 and 100.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? That y'all put that covenant there, and I think that's an amazing gift that you gave each other.
Right.
And that's more so than giving somebody a Benz for their birthday. Y'all gave each other and said, hey, this is what we're gonna do. Recently, I was talking to somebody and I said, hey, listen, we're not gonna go above 3.
Okay.
Let's make that covenant between you and I. We're not gonna go above 3, no matter what the disagreement is,
Okay.
whatever it is. We're not gonna go above 3 because I can get a whole lot loud. And then, you know, being as heavy as I am, it comes across like he trying to be a bully. No, I'm
Right.
not. I'm trying to get you to hear my point.
Yeah.
But when you get louder, they don't hear you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Nobody does.
No.
So that had to, but it was some things that was inside of me from childhood that made me want to stomp around like that.
Yeah.
You know, if the crowd ain't cheering, I ain't feeling good.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
but then now I had to, now the crowd ain't cheering no more. Now I have to deal with life on life terms.
Okay.
And that in itself, I think that covenant you have with your wife, I think that's a beautiful thing.
So the unresolved part, though, how do you? When is it? Because it has to come up at some point.
It has to
because
come
it's
up.
unresolved.
It's
the very
unresolved.
nature of it.
And basically, I think we've organically have found a way to communicate with each other. You good? Yeah, I'm good. You good? Yeah, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Some things don't need to be spoken again, right?
Okay.
If you know you've hurt someone and you've apologized and you sincerely apologized for whatever it is, it don't need to be rehashed again. You know what I'm saying?
It don't.
But you have to make sure you understand the lesson that was learned and everything that happened.
And that's the whole thing, because here's my thing. Here's where the issue becomes an issue for me.
Okay.
If I'm telling you I don't like red, okay, I don't like red.
Okay.
It ain't gonna change.
Okay.
So if I see you next week, you got red on, and I told you got red on, okay. All right, and then you hear me. I'm gonna tell you one more time. I don't like red.
Okay.
So no, wait a minute, hold up. So now we 6 months down the road.
Okay.
And you got red on again, and you got bought a red car, red hat.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying. So I'm saying all this to say, like, when are you gonna get it? That's that thing that is it understood, or is it just ignored? It's like, okay, I hear you, but okay, I'm still gonna do this because this is what I want to do, and I don't care how it affects you.
That's a give and take situation, though, bruh.
But what do you not like in red have to do with her liking red?
Yes, well, yeah.
Or her liking red. You know what I'm saying?
Or her not being
Right, but not right. Red is just a substitute, like X in an equation for what I'm really speaking about.
So we doing algebra or geometry.
So we know metaphorically speaking. We know what you're saying.
So metaphorically speaking, if I'm telling you, and specifically, okay, let me just put it on tape. I'll stop bullshitting.
Let's talk about it for real.
Let me put it on tape. We stop bullshitting. So
write me a check first. Turn the couch around, y'all.
So it became an issue with her proximity and closeness with other men. And then when I say that, I'm saying when she becomes in the company of other men.
Okay.
And how she deals with their approach and how they approach her.
Okay.
In certain scenario situations, taking pictures and all this kind of stuff. I had let it be known, like, look, dude don't need to be having his arm around you. You don't need to be that close. There's certain ways you can position yourself in pictures that it doesn't seem like what it looks like.
Okay.
And so if I'm telling you this, and I've told you this on multiple occasions, that's something, in my opinion, should not have continuously happened. So it became an issue and it became an argument.
Okay.
Because, and I understand, and I really understand it was not her intention. She didn't have no intention.
Right.
But you also know how I feel about the situation.
Yeah.
And that goes back to my original statement early on when I was saying that we see things that they don't necessarily see. Because we've been out here. We know dudes making moves, trying to make plays, and they don't respect it. And they're going to test. Right. They're going to test and see how far, whatnot, whatever.
Right.
So we see things, and I'm like, okay, to avoid potential conflict in a situation that might get ugly, watch yourself, guard yourself accordingly, so I don't have to, come into the situation and it get ugly.
Exactly.
So let me ask you a question. Does that reciprocate?
Oh, all the time, of course.
Okay. All right.
But she has let it be known that she does not have the same issue. She doesn't have that same problem, so it doesn't affect her the same way. But
still don't invalidate.
Right, it doesn't validate what I feel in regards to her positioning in regards to those situations.
And I think that's where we have to always be okay with letting a person feel how they feel. One thing we should never do is try to tell somebody how they should feel about any situation, right? And I think we do that too much because at the end of the day, you got every right to feel how you feel.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And so I think what we have to do is always be mindful that when two people come together as one, there's a whole lot of things we got to fix, right? Before you ever get here. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
There's a whole lot of stuff,
absolutely.
Right? Because and we about to put some other stuff on the table, but I ain't gonna talk about it. But at the end of the day, I think it's important that we learn, right, to be okay with how people feel. They have to be okay with how we feel, and we got to be able to talk about it. And that's the part, and that's why we're talking about this today, because we don't want to be honest in a lot of our conversations, you all. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely.
Let's be honest. Let's be honest about not being honest. And sometimes we can't be honest, right? Because here's the thing. Would you rather for me I would rather for you to be 100% honest with me and let me deal with that than to make me feel better about something that's not right.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But to what degree? Because like we said before, if you say the wrong thing at the wrong time, man, that could break somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And I think for me, that's why we learn that so early on. And I don't want to make this just about us, you all, but you know, at some point, if you can't call that time out or have those safe words, it's better to understand that it's better to retreat, because you'll never buy a house big enough that the both of them can hide.
Yeah, Lord.
We've lived in some small houses, we lived in some big houses, and we couldn't hide from each other, so we just had to address some things.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, well, we can table this conversation, and we can come to the conclusion that we all got to work better on communication, except for maybe Low. They got this thing. They got this thing on lock. But you know, we have to take the opportunity to know our mate, know how we can communicate with them, and communicate with other people as well, not just our mate, and be able to be more, I guess, translucent, more transparent in regards to how we feel, and not only that, being able to listen to the other person, understanding how they feel.
Yes,
and so that way we can be able to effectively communicate, bring the emotions down, bring the heat down, and have an honest communication amongst adults.
Transparency is the key.
Transparency is the key.
Inside voice when you're talking, you know, a lot of people like to talk real high, you know,
and that don't necessarily make you right, because you're the loudest person in the room.
No,
But you know, bring it down a little bit, you know, and talk to a point where we could literally talk.
Yeah.